Hey everybody, my name is Purti Chawla. I'm the IELTS manager here at Leverage Live. Thank you so much for joining in. And today we'll be talking about IELTS writing task 2. And I'll tell you things that you shouldn't be worrying about and how you can simplify this task and just get to your band score when it comes to writing task 2. So let's start off with understanding what the task is. So writing task 2 is the same for general training or academic students. So no matter what is your purpose of going abroad, whether it's for studying or for PR, you would have to write this same kind of question and attempt the same task when it comes to writing task 2. And in your exam, this task carries more weightage. So they have 2/3 weightage when they're giving you the marks. So you'd have to pay a lot more attention to this. Now, writing is, one of the 4 areas of English which they test in your exam. And this is one area where students falter the most. And it is scary because scary in the sense that they are tough with the marking scheme and everything. So you've got to be careful with what you're doing and what sort of questions you are getting and how you're supposed to answer them. Before we start out with what entails in the task, I just want to tell you that there are certain things that you first got to stop. Okay, the first thing is to stop looking for shortcuts. There are no shortcuts. If they're asking you to write a formal answer, they don't expect you to give them a lot of jumbo mumbo. They just want you to write the answer in a certain manner. That's all. So you don't have to worry about how you can attempt this task without putting in that effort and how you can impress the examiner without understanding what is it that you're supposed to do. So do not looking for shortcuts. It's not such a tough task. It's not rocket science that you can't, manage on your own or you can't manage somehow. So stop looking for shortcuts. The second thing is don't be afraid or scared of the exam. So it's not one area. Of course, they are strict about it. You would need to learn a couple of things before you end up taking this part, but it's not difficult as such. You need that correct guidance when it comes to taking the exam so that you're able to manage to, crack it successfully. Writing task 2 is, and in fact, the entire writing section is the section where they ask you to write in a proper order. So they're not trying to test your knowledge on something. They're not trying to test your know-how or something. So the kind of questions that they give you are also very everyday social topics. So that's first thing that you've got to know about the test. So it's not something that you wouldn't know of in the real exam. Now, you don't have to put across everything that you know about the topic. So let's say they're talking about rural or urban migration or why students are planning to go for studying abroad instead of working after high school. These kinds of questions, everyday social topics. So a lot of common topics are also there that we get to discuss, with you. But apart from that, they don't want you to give them a lot of many points and, just write about all that you know about the exam. It's not about that. So they just want to see whether you're able to write things academically or formally, and that's all, nothing else. So the parameters that they are checking you on are to be fulfilled. Otherwise, of course, whatever you write would not make a lot of sense. It's the same thing as suppose you and I are checking somebody on how delicious their food is, right? So no matter how well they have presented their food to us, until and unless we see that, yeah, it tastes delicious and, we like the taste, we won't give them marks, right? No matter how well it is presented. Same thing is there for IELTS writing task 2 also. You just need to give the examiner what they're looking for. And if you write anything extra or under, we are not getting marks. So in order to get to a band 7, there are a handful of things that you'd have to remember. And, when we have these live sessions online for IELTS coaching, instructors at Leverage Live help you with exactly that, to understand, to make you, understand the writing task is not as difficult as it is depicted or made to appear. You just need to have a couple of things in place and you're good to go. So the first thing you have to remember is the parameters on which they are checking you. There are 4 descriptors and all 4 carry equal weightage, 25% marks on which they are assessing your writing. So one, you have to ensure that you're answering the question completely. A big mistake that students make is not to understand what is given in the question, and they're in such a hurry to write the answer that you'd end up probably not answering it to the T, not answering it well. So one is you've got to analyze the question before you actually get to the writing part. So 5 minutes of creating a plan of how you're going to go about attempting it has to be made. So for instance, if my question says, some people think that computers should be used in education, while others believe that it could have negative consequences. Discuss both sides and give your opinion. Now, in this question, actually, this is called a discussion question, and it carries 3 parts to it. I'm supposed to talk about both sides of the argument, that it is positive and negative, and then give my opinion as well. So in certain cases where suppose I don't end up giving my opinion at all, that's a straight away band 4. Not even a 5 or a 6, it's a band 4 when it comes to writing. So I'm completely, entirely missing out on something. So the very fundamental basic step is to start off with analyzing what sort of question do I have, how many parts are there, what is the domain that they're asking me about. So for instance, in the same question, if I end up writing about how computers are useful to me in the workplace, for instance, again, it wouldn't make sense because they're asking me about computers used in education. So then I have to think in terms of students and teachers, not really anybody else. So the first step is to analyze the question. So okay, this is what they're asking. This is how I'm going to end up organizing my answer. These are the things that I have to write about. This is my opinion. So now I have that roadmap, a skeleton sort of a structure with me. I'm going to follow this. It keeps my writing organized. I'm not going to forget everything or anything that I'm going to write. And I go in a very logical, streamlined manner. The second thing is coherence and cohesion. That's what the second descriptor is that they're trying to assess you on. Meaning, what sort of, how easy it is to read your answer, how easy it is to make sense of it. So there are 2 things that come here, actually. The first one is how you are organizing the answer. So it has to be done in paragraphs. It's a big mistake if you're writing it in points or a whole passage without leaving paragraphs in between. Don't do that. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining in. I hope this was helpful to you. And I get to see a couple of you in the sessions as well. Have a nice day. Bye.